Starting a series today, game of the week. We're gonna be doing game of the day, actually, not game of the week, game of the day. So I'll be trying to find a game that I've analyzed or I've played that I deem one of the best games of that day. I'll do a recap of it, explaining each and every move, and I hope you enjoy and you understand. And again, if it's your first time here, please do sub up, subscribe, hit the like button, and please do comment. Let me know your thoughts and how you're feeling. Without any further ado, we enter the game. This is from the World Chess Masters 2024, and this is the Armageddon between Vishy and Praggnanandhaa because they drawed all their classical games, so they have to play a rapid 30 minutes each game. I don't know the increment, but here we go. Here the game starts off with e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, and the move that was the analysis, and the move d4, entering the Scotch game. In this position, I think the normal move is just e takes. There's knight takes, obviously, but that's normally not good. The normal move is e takes, or in most moves, people play d6, trying to keep that pawn on e4, e5, so that if your opponent takes, it's to just a normal structure, and you can even transpose into something like the Rio Lopez or even the Italian, which is the Cuccio Piano. But Vishy takes, then this takes. In this position now, that's the most interesting thing. There's so many nuances nowadays. Normally, if you're a beginner, they'll take. Then normally you either play something like d6, bishop out most of the time. That's what I normally play. Or even knight here, forcing something like this, not even going to the center most of the time. But like in most cases, you don't normally see queen f6. I've never really seen it. Maybe the top level is normal, but the move queen f6 is played, and of course it's understandable. You're applying pressure here, and most likely you're going to attack this, applying more pressure here, saying that even if you take here, I'm gonna have a mating attack. So that could be a future prospect. If you are, let's say, between 1400 to 1800, this could be a good weapon to use, where you're kind of saying if your opponent missteps and plays something like this, you have this, and if he ever plays in here, you can always take, because there's so many pieces just attacking that knight, and your opponent is unaware of the dangers. But of course the game continues. Normally the knight goes back to e2. So now I'm gonna adjust my chair. Knight goes back to e2, bishop c5, knight f4, and knight f4 is actually interesting because this knight has moved from d6, not d5, e2, then here. That's interesting. Like, the maneuvering of the knight is interesting, and the evil bar is not even changing. That shows you the intense understanding of a position. In most cases, if me I had this position and my opponent plays here, I'm not playing here most of the time. I'm either playing this or I'm either playing this. Those are the moves that I'm trying to play. And by the way, f3 is the worst move. Bishop f4 is even worse. So those are the moves that I would be considering myself to say how bad could it be. But okay, the game continues, of course. Knight goes to f4, pawn to d6, or because that's the normal move. You're trying to open your bishop so that you can have some attacking prospect in the light squares as well. Knight develop to c3. Knight developed, and now it's just a developing game. The castle, they have some exchange, and we reach into a position where now we can consider this move 11. We're now in the middle game, and now the pieces we have all developed. Vishy still has one piece undeveloped, but also same thing as Praggnanandhaa, one piece undeveloped, and we see how it goes. Queen into the center, queen e5. Queen e5 is so interesting because, what is this queen doing? That's my question when I was watching the game live. Like, what is the queen doing? What is the queen doing in this position? There were numerous type of opportunities, like a6, b6. There's a lot of opportunities, but queen e5 is so confusing because what is the queen doing? This is protected, This can be protected easily by this move. So I'm like, what is the queen doing? Like, I was not thinking about future prospects here. And of course, Prague backs up my claim by playing bishop into the center by bishop d3. Bishop d3 played. Now he plays a6. He pushes his pawn up. And now f5 is played. F5 is actually an interesting move. And I was like, f5, is he trying out to open the position? Of course, we understand the idea of having the rook open, its eyes trying to see that this file is, it controls this file, and also the bishop can actually leave. If you take here, the bishop can leave because the knight also defends that pawn. So maybe that's what is an interesting move. That's a very interesting move. Takes, but he doesn't take back. So here's where I kind of was caught off. I was like, the best move in this position is bishop takes. Why not bishop takes? The best move in this position, even the computer backs it up, the best move in this position is bishop takes, then possibly trade off the bishop. Your opponent has double pawns. So on this side, which is the queen side, you have an advantage. Low key, I'm not better than these players. I work with the engine, so the engine is better than everyone else, to be fair. So I was kind of shocked seeing this move when I was looking at it, assessing it live. The game continues. His first mistake, he goes queen f3, which is weird. Like, what is the queen doing? Again, I'm asking, why is he maneuvering his queen back and forth? Like, why? Because in this position, there is g4. g4 striking in the center, a move that takes guts to actually play, a move that takes grit. You have to have cojones to play that move. The game continues. We have g6, we have g6, we have knight d5, we have knight takes d5, takes, knight into the center, and in this position we notice something now. Prague is ready to attack. It's not decisive. We're not always the advantage. We're not always trying to defend. But in this position, it's still kind of drawish. You know what I mean? It's kind of drawish because with all these pieces, if they're traded off, the game could come down. But okay, the game continues. Knight takes, queen takes, and in this position, when I looked at it, I'm like, okay, now it's kind of clearing up. You know, this is a weakness. These pawns are kind of offsided. You know what I mean? They're kind of offsided. So you know, I want to play queen h4, but queen h4 was not played. I was against takes because I'm like, you're letting your opponent's weakness become his strength. Because here, a beginner would take immediately, but an experienced player would push. And now there's no way to break through. Because if you try something like this, here's this. So that after even it takes, or even takes with the queen, having a pawn launch into the space is taking up more space. I was like, what is going on? Prague is actually winning. Queen into the center. Bishop. Now all his pieces are now lighting up. Remember, two of these bishops were useless. The entire game, they have not done anything. They were just there. Now the bishop going to b2 is now useful because not only is it stopping the king from coming into these dark squares, it's helping the pawns as well, because literally it can go here, if this pawn is gone. Like, now it has opened its eyes and it's saying, I have a place to go to and I'm going to go there, because if the bishop lands here, it limits the movements of the bishop, not of the bishop, of the rook, I mean. So the game continues. Obviously, Vishy not understanding this, he's like, okay, let me develop my bishop as well, let me take it out, and also let me try to bring my rook into the center and take care of that open file. Prague makes a mistake, and in this position I was like, no, it can't really be a mistake. The engine is kind of like, you know, it's kind of like it's that judgmental, because you're seeing it's a possibility. What if your opponent just blunders? You know, your opponent could easily blunder this, and you're winning, like, easily. Most of the people that I play against could easily blunder that move. So I'm like, that's too judgmental. That's too judgmental. So So in this position, they deemed this a mistake, and for me personally, I don't see it as a mistake. Let's remove this move. Okay, I'm not allowed to remove that move. But okay, this was a mistake. The game continues. Another mistake replicated by. And here I was like, okay, now we can play en passant. Maybe that's the right move. But actually, in this move, rook f3 is the right move. You know, you can also play bishop a1, which is like, what? Bishop a1? Like, who's gonna play that? Or rook from b to e1. This one I can understand. You're taking care of the open file that your opponent didn't take care of. But in this move, Pragg pushes his rook up. And after this, we see the moves come in quicker. The king running away. Of course, and here it was important here as well. It was important here for him not to go for the en passant. I think he couldn't actually go for the en passant. What am I saying? He couldn't go for the en passant because, of course, the king is. But I guess it was important also for him not to think about just barricading. And one thing I like about Pragg's playing style is that he's patient. He's not trying to run through his opponent, go here, there, maybe check him somewhere, like do something miraculous, something expensive. No, he's just playing chess, like normal chess. He's just playing chess. He plays rook there, the king goes there, and he sacrifices the rook. I'm not gonna scream like Gotham chess, but he sacrifices the rook, earning a brilliancy and another brilliancy. And here, many people are confused, like, why is this a brilliancy? Because in the case of maybe your opponent playing something like rook a to e or e8, in the case of this, you have rook to h6. Do you understand that now? You have rook to h6. This queen is literally running out of squares. Does anyone notice that? It's running out of squares. And if your pieces are just blocked everywhere there. Like, do we understand? Like, it's just not, there's nothing there. You get me? The pieces are just blocked there. Yeah, the game is over. I hope you enjoyed that game of the day. One of the most impressive games by Pragg, beating one of his mentors, his idol. Yeah, hit the subscribe button.